Hello and welcome to Chapter 154 of DC Alliance Podcast. With me, as always, is Joe. Joe, how you doing this evening?
Good. I'm not slamming my finger with a mug,
Oh,
apparently.
it was right off the desk, actually, and then I slid the mug all in one motion.
Okay, I just heard the mug clank, so I'm just like, "What the?" Okay, no, I'm doing good. It's my final long weekend until I don't know, March, May, I don't know, whatever next holiday is. So yeah, I'm just trying to soak it up as much as I can. Go back to work tomorrow, sadly, but yeah, just so far so good. How are you doing this weekend
I'm doing
or
pretty
this
good
day?
this week. Well, the past weekend was pretty good. It was nice to relax. Back in the swing of things. School, not so much first couple days of the week, which was always nice. Besides that, not much really, Joe. Excited for DC film Shazam when we get that in a couple months. We were just talking that before we
Yeah,
went live. Bought a couple comics the other day. Listeners, I'm trying to collect out the entire run of Secret Wars, issue by issue. I snagged issue 9 for $10 the other day, but I also snagged a couple other books that were DC as well. A nice Mr. Miracle, number
old one, nice.
18. Someone's crashing a wedding here. You might know his
Who could that
face.
be?
Ooh, that was a nice little snag. And I wasn't gonna grab this, but it was sticking out of the box. It kind of looked cool to me. I've never read this, War of the Gods,
Yeah, War of the Gods is one of those where
and there's a mini
no, I haven't
poster
read that one yet.
inside.
It
George
it it
Perez too, so I was like,
yep,
I gotta
it
snag this.
goes through a lot of the Wonder Woman issues as well. I believe War of the Gods was a 2 issue, maybe a 6 issue.
I just
I
know
don't
this
know.
is
It's
a
over there
big.
on my shelf.
Chris, if you've read it, please let me know. I'm curious. I'm probably gonna click. I just love the art on this George Perez is. Yeah,
Yeah, George. I mean,
yeah. No, enough.
R.I.P. But like,
R.I.P.
wonderful man.
Oh yeah, and one of the greats. One of the greats. So, Joe, we don't have a big lot going on in DC. Smallville Retro Recaps is back. That'll be towards the
Yeah.
end of the show. We'll get to hear Joe's thoughts on the next 3 episodes. Maybe we'll tie that part into the trailer we have, 30-second trailer we
I mean,
have
totally
there.
can.
Yeah, thinking about that. We have a little bit
Synergy.
of news to talk
Synergy.
about. We don't have any announcements from James Gunn yet, unfortunately. It's coming this month. So we have 2 weeks to get that news. Hopefully, it will come on a Monday. That would be so nice. I would
You know,
love
it's
that.
not gonna.
No, I know, but that Joker news came out on a Monday. I think that was the last time when they announced Joker 2 was going ahead. Uh, I think that was the last time anything was announced on a Monday. But
Okay.
we're gonna, if it's, well, it depends. We may do a little special thing to talk about it. It all depends on the circumstances of when it drops.
And
But
if
let
I'm
me do,
available.
yeah, obviously. Well, maybe I'll
I
do a quick
got a
blast
lot
out
of
of it.
yeah, got a lot going on this month for myself.
Yes, you got a lot going
And,
on
we
in
can talk
general.
about it when you get the plugs.
Yes, we do. We are. I'm going to do the plugs right now. We are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance with 8 shows in total. On Mondays is Ranger Alliance, and that rotates bi-weekly with Slice of Film. On Tuesdays is DC Alliance. On Wednesdays, normally was the Animation Nation, but starting this Wednesday,
Yep.
we have a walk through the multiverse, Joe's show, where Joe is going to be covering a The Last of Us. I almost said A Last of Us, The Last of Us, the hit show on HBO Max is getting rave reviews for the first episode that drops Sunday night. I'm going to try and watch that tomorrow morning and join Joe as he talks about that. With a potential another guest as well, joining Joe to discuss The Last of Us. And you would get a non-game side of things if I get to join because I had not
Yes.
played the games. I see you, Chris, and Clay really geeking out in the G-Way chat.
Dude, look, the games are amazing, and it's gonna be a little biased. I'm not gonna lie, but
Oh,
we'll do what we can.
it's okay. I'm really interested to listen to that as well on episodes I can't make it, but I think I'm going to try and watch the show. This is really a big hit for HBO. So yeah, my show is going to switch. I'll get to when that's going to drop on the network in a little bit. On Thursdays is Star Wars Alliance. On Fridays is Marvel Alliance. On Saturdays, weekly, is the Animation Nation until The Last of Us is over. So Joe's going to cover that for 9 weeks. Is that
9
9 episodes?
episodes,
Nine
so like
episodes.
March 20 something.
Would couple months. So you'll be joining me back on Wednesdays then. But until then, stick with me on Saturdays for your Saturday morning cartoons. Watch a bit of the X-Men the animated series and just listen to me discuss it because it's a fantastic show and it's coming back. So yay for that.
Yay.
On Sundays, monthly is World's Finest True Believers. DC Alliance goes live on the Geekverse YouTube channel Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Star Wars Alliance goes live Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And Marvel Alliance goes live Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. All three of those shows also have their own podcast feeds. Search Marvel Alliance, DC Alliance, or Star Wars Alliance if you just want Marvel content, DC content, or Star Wars content. But if you want all 8 shows on the GUA Podcast Network, stay subscribed to the GUA on your podcast app of choice. We also have a Patreon, 2 tiers, a $1 tier and a $5 tier. The $1 tier is basically a tip jar. You like what we're doing and you want to help us out any way you can. And the $5 tier is where you get your extras. You get your ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon exclusive episodes. Listeners, if you're a patron, up on the feed as of a couple hours ago, probably 5 hours ago, myself and Joe with the newest addition to DC Films Through the Years, where we discussed Supergirl. Joe, that was a film we
That was
watched.
a movie.
That was a film we watched. So please listen to us discuss the connection to the Reeves films, Helen Slater's performance, the mediocre villains, the also Helen Slater's love interest in the film, which we'll talk about how much sense that makes, and so much more. So
Witchcraft. Yep.
so please give that listen as we go through the DC films through the years. Next on the docket is Superman 4. We've been discussing when we're going to get together to talk about that. So you'll get that soon enough. I'm excited to get through that film and get to some good films, including Batman 89.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll have a stint of good films and then some meh
We'll
films
get,
for a while.
that's the worst thing. Oh, we'll get into this film. Then behind that is Catwoman, just waiting, lurking in the wings.
Yeah,
But I
I
can't wait
don't
for
think I can put. I don't think we have anything else to put to push that off any longer. So,
No, it's just
we tried.
no way. We tried, but stick with us as we go through all the DC films through the years. We also have Chris and Brent, the Marvel Alliance guys, doing their MCU rewatch, discussing all the films, also the one shots as well. So stick with them; they cover the MCU. We have Clay doing his watches for the first time. Right now, he's doing Game of Thrones. We have Katie doing Star Wars comics with her husband Matt. We have Joe's Multiverse Minutes. Okay, we thank everyone that's a patron. But if you can't be a patron, if you can take a quick 30 to 60 seconds to rate and review the podcast on your podcast app of choice, that's always greatly appreciated. It helps other people find the show, and that's always a good thing. Okay, Joe, I think I knocked everything out there. Let's get on to the show.
You got it.
And our main topic, our opening topic, we have Matt Reeves confirmed in an interview with Collider. He's meeting James Gunn to discuss the Batverse and the DC universe. He's going to be meeting DC studio bosses James Gunn and Peter Safran to go over the overhauled DC universe and his ongoing Batverse. He does say here the goal is to ensure both universes don't crash into each other in terms of storytelling. As Bees put it, we want to support each other. What do you think about this article, Joe?
It's the article basically says that the DCU and the Batverse, the Matt Reeves universe, the Pattinson-verse, whatever you want to call it, the Batman, are going to be separate. They're going to stay separate. I'd like to think that money talks, and given enough time, they could eventually merge. We don't need to have a Batman in the DC universe right away. We've already had that before with Keaton. We had it in the Snyderverse with Affleck. I mean, he came in new movie 2. So, like, we don't need to have the Batman combined just yet. Doesn't mean we can't get, like, a couple films under our belt. And then, all right, well, hey, the Batman's over here, and we'll have, I don't know, James Gordon from the Batman pop up in Metropolis for some reason. Like he's at a convention or something. And it's Jeffrey Wright. Like that is a possibility. Not saying it will happen, but I would not be upset if in the future this Batman universe does just mold well into the DCU. But if it doesn't, if they actually are, I know we had it talked about it in the chat to the point where the Batman universe is great. They could keep their villains, they could do their own thing, and then they could introduce everything over here, which would benefit the Batman fans, longtime fans. Like you could have Robin just show up here, and you don't need to explain it over here. It's or you could have the more outlandish villains like a Clayface or a trying to think of some because most of his are really like
Mr. Freeze too.
well, but like Mr. Freeze, you can actually
Well, he's wearing a cryogenic
explain.
suit and shooting a like
Yeah,
cryo
sure.
gun.
It's
So I'm just saying in terms of fantastical, and Man Bat too.
Man Bat's a good one. Yeah,
Yeah.
like somebody who morphs himself into this creature. Hell, you could even have Solomon Grundy in there somehow. Like you could have some of these characters that have a little bit more of a not even a mystical side, but more of a monster-ish side over in DCU, and then have more. I know Clay always hated it. Grounded villains over here in the Batman universe.
Well, the more gangster type villains,
Correct.
like the
Yeah,
ones that don't have actual powers, and I would even lump
you don't need
Bane into
to.
that, and that's a good
Well,
idea, Joe. Like just because I don't think you need Bane in uh, Pattinson's Batman universe. I think there's so many more wells to go to if you're only telling 3 movie story.
and
That's
again,
like
like you could easily go past the three. Just right now, you're telling a three movie.
yeah. Plus these shows,
Correct. Like,
yeah.
would Bane work in that? I'm not saying he wouldn't, but when the first movie was a full on detective movie and he's still learning, and you had Penguin and Falcone, and it was a gangster like
Yeah.
mob movie that Batman was fighting against. Keep with that avenue. Like you don't have to shy away from. You don't have to magically go to well, not Zaz. Crap. What's his name? Hugo Strange. Like you don't
Yeah.
have to go to Hugo Strange right away because he goes crazy at times. But you could keep along the lines of the mobsters. Like I mean, Killer Croc is an example of somebody who, yeah, he has these abilities, but him as well as Solomon Grundy were both mob leaders at times.
Yeah, it all
It's
depends on
kind of
how you use
impossible.
them. It all depends on how you use them. Like,
Exactly.
what type of interpretation do you want? The more the Suicide Squad Killer Croc is more like fantastical. We're blind in DCU, whereas I could see something else being used for Matt Reeves to Batman, but I could
But at the
still hear
same
see.
time, you don't want to have two Killer Crocs.
No, that's why they're meeting. I think Joe. I think the main thing you can tolerate is two Batman going around.
That'd be the most.
And you're not having, like, full-blown Batman films in the DCU, you're just
Mhm.
having Batman show up in different situations, in maybe, like, a ancillary character in the movie, like,
Yeah.
but I really think that if Zaslav would be okay with this as well, because if you're bringing in money, you have this money-making universe over here in the Reevesverse, because that made 700 million, the movie,
Plus,
so
we need to have more Batman villains show up. I'm not saying I don't want to see a Joker, but we've already had 4 Jokers at this point,
yeah.
5 now. Like we need a different interpretation. He's got such a lush rogues gallery that they've only ever done the ones from Batman 66. Like the main ones from Batman 66. Like we need new blood here. We need other characters.
I agree with that. I would love to see that, especially I think that would be the best place for DCU characters.
Correct.
And I think that like we both said that. I think that would be the better way to go. I'm just happy that they're having this meeting
Yeah,
and like
and they're
coordinating
putting the cards
because
on the table.
yes, like
They're
I'm sure Gunn's probably like, okay, Reeves, like, can I see your script? Like, what are you planning? Who are your villains? Because if you're not going to use Mr. Freeze, like, I'm planning on maybe doing another Suicide Squad film down the road a little bit, and we connect this universe. I'm going to probably try and get Mr. Freeze put in jail, and then like, I'm going to connect some of these villains that we're going to see earlier than I do the
yeah,
next Suicide Squad film. So I don't
and
want them to
even
show up in the Batman movie, like confusing them. So look, I'll keep Penguin away. I won't touch
exactly.
Catwoman, things like that. Like I don't need those, but I'm just curious, are you going to use Killer Croc? because I could possibly use him. I just want to know, like, so we don't cross over. Like, what you're doing is fine. I don't know
Yes.
if you're planning on doing a Robin. If you do, can you keep me in the loop on that? Because we might be planning on either using that, or if you're going to do Robin, maybe we'll just go right ahead and say that Nightwing exists in this universe, and where he's in between Robins at this time, maybe in
Yeah.
between Jason and Tim right now.
I would love, especially if they go that route with having Nightwing established, Jason maybe even dead. Like Arkham Asylum's already there in play, and then you could just have somebody walking through, and there's nameplates. Similar to what they
Mhm.
did with Arrow, similar to what they did with
Yep.
I guess Arrow's the one that really comes to mind. And
They
then
did
yeah,
that a little bit in the Batman in terms of, like, some of the cells were marked.
correct.
Like,
Oh,
it was
I'm
more
thinking
of an
of
Easter egg
I'm
hunt.
thinking of. I'm also thinking of Batman
You're right
Begins.
about Arrow because it happened multiple times. It
Well,
happened
that
when the
was
Diggle goes in for the Suicide Squad, but it also
yeah,
happens
that
at
was
the
Del
very
Reeves. That really wasn't
it happened in Elseworlds
Arkham.
crossover when they,
Yes, they
went to
had
Gotham. They actually
Second
went to
Pirate.
Arkham, yeah.
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 But like, yeah, that's one of those things where you don't have to show me. If you show me, great. But even just a nameplate and like a hand or a like something that shows that they are who they are. Like, I would love that. That'd be
Or,
great.
like I said, give a 2-minute exposition dump. Like, give me a dump, like, 2-minute dump of story. Give
Yeah.
me a dump.
Yeah.
Xbox could probably cut that out. I was just realizing that. But, no, like, even that, I know some people shit on that and say that's lazy writing, but if you're trying to weave together a connective universe,
Yep.
like, giving me
If
that
you're
little bit of backstory, that's fine. Like, have Gordon explain what's happened to the Batman recently. Oh, yeah, you like, this is his third Robin now because he's like, you could have him telling somebody else that, and
if you're establishing the world, would we love to see it from start to finish? Of course.
yes.
You can't do that though. It's damn near impossible to be able to
But
do that when movies come out every 3 years.
But Joe, what Marvel showed, obviously I don't want DC to copy Marvel, but what Marvel has shown too, though, if you lay out this connected universe, you can go back to periods. They haven't done it very often, but they did do it with Black Widow. You can go back in periods of time throughout this connective universe
True.
and tell other stories. Like, if the
Black Widow, Captain America, and
DCEU,
Captain Marvel are the only three so far.
yes, if the DCEU connected, like, was still alive, I would have loved to see a HBO Max series or another film just showing me how Doctor Fate, Pierce Brosnan got the helmet,
Right.
became Doctor Fate, and showing me one of his cool adventures. I would love to see that. Like, that would even that alone, because we know that he has like kind of like immortality because he has a helmet. That's one thing they allude to. So you could show me a period piece in that, and I would be all for that, even though I know the outcome in the end.
Yeah.
I still would be if it's a good story. So, like, I think that that's still a possibility in a connected universe. Marvel's shown that multiple times. It's just I would love to see it happen for DC.
Same.
Yeah,
Well, we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens when Gunn and Saffron make the announcement later this month.
agree. I can't wait for that. But we gotta say it one more time. I'm just happy that you see this level of communication and coordination that we didn't really see in
100%.
the past regime. It seemed like
No.
people were going around with their heads cut off, and people were trying to grab pieces of pie and not caring about story or connecting or anything like that. Just give me an area of DCU. You guys go do what you think. No,
Yeah.
not like that anymore. And I'm really glad about that. So
Yep.
don't
100%.
know what the content's coming like yet, but just nice to see the organizational structure come
Look,
back a little bit.
every little crumbs at a time, okay, Travis?
Yes,
We're
yes, yes.
we're taking what we can get right now.
Beggars can't be choosers. You're right. Oh, okay, listeners. We'll take our first ad break of the evening. We're an ad-supported network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe, let's get into the news roundup of the day. We have no new shows, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But first things first, Harley Quinn, the animated series, wins Best Animated Series at the Critics' Choice Awards. This is the HBO Max darling. I think this is what they hoped Velma would be for them. The reviews for that is not kind. So
Still haven't watched it. I'm not gonna know. Like I want to sort of, but I'm not like chopping at the bits to.
no, I heard some of the
Yeah, I'll be honest.
descriptions of some of the characters that are from the Scooby Doo lore, and yeah, not very appealing to me at the
Ugh.
current time to visit that. I possibly will one day, but you
I'll
will
say
not see that covered on Animation Nation for a while.
allegedly, it's already getting a second season.
Color me shocked,
So
Joe. Color me shocked on that.
I don't know.
Well, we're getting a Valentine's special for this show, so uh,
Yay! Yes, that's true. I
th-
forgot about that.
that'll be nice to see and review. Is it taking a page from Marvel's book, in my opinion? I
Well,
know this
yes
isn't
and no,
connected, but
'cause
just given doing a special for something that's like I know they've done a few specials now, like the Werewolf by Night and stuff like
yeah,
that. Just in terms of, I know that HBO Max is not coordinated like Disney Plus is, where everything's going to go on there though. So
but
yeah,
you can't fair, but you can't, I don't want to take credit away from Marvel with their specials, but Harley Quinn, the comics, for the last since it came out in New 52, have been doing like
yeah.
specials. They've been doing like like a holiday special, Valentine special, Halloween special in the comics every single year. So them putting a special out for the show fits with the Harley Quinn aesthetic. And I'm happy for that. Like I love the show. The show's amazing. I'm interested to see what the Valentine's Day is special is going to be about, because the comics wise, it's always some weird thing. There was one issue in
Well,
particular one year
they went on
that
in the show, the comic of the show, they went on a big adventure
yeah,
in
well
between seasons.
that was yeah, between seasons 2 and 3.
Yes.
And did you ever read
Their
those?
honeymoon. I didn't get a chance to read them yet.
They were interesting. They
Or
were
maybe I
fun.
did
I had a
read
good time with
them.
them
Maybe I did read them before we started. I can't remember that.
because I
Feel like I
know
did read them.
there's one out now. I believe it's coming out right now where it's what is it doing? I think she's being like a hero of types. Like I
Well,
think
yeah, remember we left off, she was part of
that's
the
where she
Bat family?
ends.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're still following that course. I haven't read those yet, the new ones, but no, this Valentine's Day special coming out looks great. The fact this thing won an award, worth it. It's such an amazing show.
And I love when like DC, like superhero animated stuff is shining light on, because I think that is a great medium for superhero stuff. So
Yeah,
I don't want it to be just live action. I want still want some animation. So it's just nice to see, and we're probably going to get more and more seasons of this until I can see this existing on its own. And the one thing I want to say
fingers
too
crossed.
that I forgot to say about the Matt Reeves and Batman, just going back to that for 2 seconds, that shows a 10-year plan as well, because you could possibly, if you don't want to connect them now, bring them in for Crisis, if
Yeah,
Crisis level event. So yeah, I forgot. I can't believe I didn't say that before.
yeah.
Okay, so James Gunn tweeted out something I wanted to talk to you about
Okay.
before we talk about him debunking Superman castings. He tweeted out a picture of the Peacemaker crew and said, "1 year ago today, Peacemaker debuted. Best group of people ever. Love and missed you guys, and see you all soon." That "see you all soon" makes me think he's starting up Peacemaker season 2 soon.
That's a literal smoking James Gunn.
Yeah, I really think
Sorry.
so. Which makes me tried to power through it, but I couldn't. I couldn't.
Like it because we never got an official word season 2 was coming. We all speculated, but it
A lot
was
of people.
never official. Now, him tweeting this out, it kind of is all but official because but that also kind of leads to my question, is this going to be ready by like when's it going to be ready? You know,
It's
cuz
not gonna be ready before the Flash comes out or Aquaman.
like
So
Aquaman's the last one, right?
which no, which I
Like
think this is not. I think we're not getting a full reboot. This makes me feel like we're just getting a couple characters rebooted, and we're just going to get, for the most part, everything else staying the same.
unless there was something I saw, a tweet I
Yes, I
saw.
know the pariah peacemaker.
Yeah, like why not? You know,
Eh,
like he's already
Actually,
jumping worlds in comics, so like let's make it a thing. And if that's the case, then that makes Peacemaker the final like part of the DCEU that will then mold into the new DCU coming forward. Like I like that idea. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but I like the idea. especially since if he's filming now, thanks, F Bubs. If he's filming now or soon, we're not going to see it until 2024 at the
Yeah,
earliest.
at the earliest. No, this is not a heavy CGI minus Eagly. This is not a heavily
Love
CGI
Eagly.
show.
No,
Uh,
but you still have to. Well, it's not
he
heavy.
turned
Season
he
one wasn't
turned
heavy. We don't know what season two could be.
That's not true. He turned it out pretty quickly though, from writing it, filming it, and putting it back out there. It didn't take a super long time like some shows do. Uh, like I said, I don't know how this is gonna go. This is making me feel like I said, they're gonna pick and choose.
Yeah,
Like I don't know if Gal's gonna be. I feel like Gal's gonna stay. I could possibly see Jason going and turning his Lobo, but I don't see
I
the
said
whole
it
thing
earlier.
getting
Money talks.
I don't see the whole thing getting rebooted, which is sad for me because I wish they would have did that if
Correct.
that's the way
I'm
it's
right
gonna
there
go.
with you.
If you're gonna recast Superman, that's what I don't understand. How you're gonna do that unless you're
Well,
gonna
and
explain some things with the Flash, which is what I think a lot of his notes were about continuity stuff with the Flash.
yeah, it just it bothers me because I didn't want to think that he was going to be picking and choosing people to go over to the new universe. I
Yeah.
wanted it to be just a clean wipe and everybody starts fresh. But this makes me think if it plays out that way, it's going to be, well, Peacemaker stays, which means just the Suicide Squad stays, which means
Everything
nothing.
I've done is right, and everything else that anyone else has done is not
Yeah,
good.
that's the thing I don't like.
Yeah, that's what I don't wanna feel, and I'm like, listeners don't wanna say that you can't bring your every person that he cast in Peacemaker, bring them all in new roles, bring Hardcore in as Power Girl if you want. I don't care what way you go with it. I
Ooh,
prefer not, but I'm just throwing out possible ideas, but, cast them in all kinds of different roles if you like. But don't keep them as their same characters. Recast, reboot the whole universe if you're gonna go
yeah,
that way.
it
And
they should.
that way you have a I can pull from the DCEU when we get to this multiverse event. If you get to that point, you're like, I can pull from another universe. But if you just pick and choose, then it gets really iffy. And like, okay, are you going to bring back Gal and them? Are you not? Jason? And then what about if you do crisis event? Like, is does their Earth ever exist? The one from their Justice League movie, or is that gone? Like, are you gonna bring characters back from that? If they're there, do those other characters who went to the new DCU do they remember those characters and their interactions? Or if not, like, will it be awkward with their fans? So yeah, just I have a lot of questions that come out of this, which I would love. But I want to see Peacemaker season 2 as well, Joe. So
Exactly.
it's like
Again,
I
we'll
can't be
know
pleased.
we'll know more. We'll know more later this month.
Yes,
I guarantee one of those announcements will be Peacemaker season 2,
I think you're right about that.
but we'll see.
Because he did, like I said, unannounced TV show is what he talked about. Uh, Also, Gunn was active on Twitter and responded to fans online who were saying Jacob Elordi. Uh, Hold on, I gotta get the exact name
Yeah, I
correct
don't
because I don't want to
know
butcher
who
it.
this guy is, and apparently the internet went crazy
I got it
with
right.
him. Nice. I no, especially the photo that was the photo really bad photoshopped photos that were attached to the
Oh
tweet.
yeah, they were going right. They were
Like,
awful.
what? No.
And we talked about this a little bit on the GUA crossover Patreon. We had a GUA session where
I did
patrons
not
were
being
allowed
on
to
that
go as
episode.
well. And David, yeah, yeah. Actually, you know what? You should probably say you were there, and that was your alibi.
Oh, good point.
Yeah. So you were there as well, and David joined us. So shout out to David, one of our patrons, for joining us as well. It was a fun time, but we did talk about this here a little bit, and I did enjoy. Like Gunn said, no one has been cast as Superman yet, uh, and the casting would happen after the script for the new Superman project. Gunn's
Ooh.
currently writing is finished or close to finished. He said, "My thoughts are no one has been cast as Superman yet. Casting, as is almost always the case with me, will happen after the script is finished or close to finished, and it isn't. We'll announce a few things in not too long, but the casting of Superman won't be one of them."
So that's the thing on the game. I've never seen Euphoria. My girlfriend has. She watched all of it, but on the game here says he's great in Euphoria, and my pick for MCU Cyclops. I like that.
Ooh, that's been Travis. Oh, that's been Snell's. He could nail it.
Really?
Like the one thing for comic characters, I will never flat out say just when someone's cast that they can't do it.
Oh
Just from
no!
all
Like
the times we've seen people be like, "That's gonna be terrible," and they knock it out of
yeah,
the park.
Michael Keaton is the perfect example of people like,
Yes,
oh, he's
Heath Ledger,
Batman. Heath
same thing.
Ledger is another great example.
Oh my god, he's gonna be Joker.
Like those two have just knocked it out of the park when they were given those characters.
On the
Zack,
game, I actually
I
see
think-
that when I look at him. I
yeah,
just no, I want to say I see Cyclops when I look
I
at the
can too.
picture
That's why I'm
attached.
like, that's
Yeah.
good casting. But I also, we'll see.
Yeah, so I we don't know, but it's nice. Like I said, it's always nice to see James Gunn going out and debunking some of these scoops. The scoop before that he debunked, or maybe this scoop. One of the scoops he debunked lately caused the home of DCU to like in their Twitter account. So
Oh yeah, which
yeah,
one was
that's
it?
always a fun thing when he just like, yeah, that's completely
That was
right.
great.
So always a great thing seeing Gunn do that. It's just nice to see that.
Sad thing is, like I've been saying, he won't be able to do it for long. Like
No, he's going to
a
get
few
busier
more
and
months, he's
busier.
gonna have to get to work. So
Yeah. It's
and
gonna
it'll
get
be like
busier.
once every month he'll get on Twitter and be like, "All right, what do I have to say no to this month?"
Who what do I have to squash?
Yeah.
Uh, okay, Joe, we have a new look at uh, Green Arrow, Spartan, The Flash, and Kid Flash from the episode that the Arrow is going to appear in The Flash season 9. I really love seeing this. I just Deagle's helmet has been
I
a
mean,
source of frustration for me for 5 years now, or 5 seasons of that existing. Like it's so
all they
close to
had to do.
Magneto's.
Yes. Yeah. But all they had to do was just give him the ring. Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
Joe,
I
that's
gave
even
it
more
up.
frustrating.
All
Turn
they had
off
to
the
do was
Can I just say, turn off the fucking green lights on his helmet. Like you're just teasing us into
you're
rubbing.
literally pissing you fans who have been loving that character for years. You're literally pissing these fans off. Like,
You're just rubbing salt in the wound. Like, oh, look at that green light. Maybe he won't reject him bringing this crossover or this episode. Oh, stay tuned to find out. Assholes.
yeah. Which
But
reminds
still,
me,
S Bubs, watch the first 2 seasons of The Flash and the first 2 seasons of Arrow. I'm shocked that you did. That you will not regret that. Those 2 seasons stand the test of time. Uh,
which like I still want to say you should watch Flash and talk to me about it on the show here. You can explain the episode to me and somebody who hasn't watched the show in like 3 years and be like, yeah, I'll see if I can like pick out what the hell's going on. I know
it
you gotta
gets
get caught up to do that, but
it gets pretty formulaic at the
oh
end
yeah,
there.
yeah,
But the first 2 seasons, I still like when he goes to Earth 2, all the first season. It was really good television back then, and it moved up comic book shows a little bit. And like I said, I always like to see this. It looks like Oliver Queen's wearing his season 8 Green Arrow suit from my look here. So, uh, like I said, I think the pulling him out of the timeline is probably how this is going to work.
yeah, more than
That's
likely. We discussed it on
last
the chat
episode.
that yeah on the well yeah this one and they gave in the GUA crossover episode a little
Yes,
bit.
we did. Okay, Joe, we have a little 30-second clip for Superman Lois season 3, which you know what is funny, seeing how you're going through the Superman
Watching
and
the show
Lois right
from the
now,
beginning right
starting
now,
in
yeah.
season 1. But I will tell you, nothing in this gave away anything really
Nothing that I
from
didn't already know.
yes. So
And even from watching the episodes I've been watching and what little clips I've seen online throughout the years, um, yeah, like I know some spoiler stuff, and I think even on DC before I became co-host, you guys talked about it. Not just I didn't watch listen to those episodes because I had watched the show, but you had mentioned it in the main on
yes,
Monday
what
nights.
news stuff like
Yeah, so
yeah.
like I know some stuff, and some stuff is coming back to me from here and there. But like if I get spoiled on things, that's my own fault. I didn't watch the show for 2 years, so
Yeah, there's not much here that is spoilery. To be honest with you, this is from the first couple episodes filmed, so that's how this usually goes with
Yeah.
CW. They're teasing Lois being killed. Obviously, I doubt that's going to
Killed,
happen.
captured, kidnapped, something like that. 1 and 2 or 3.
But I'm just excited to see it return
Also,
for
well, the big thing is we
March
got
14th.
the first scenes of the new actor playing Jonathan.
Yes, we got,
Um,
and he looked kind of like the original Jonathan. If I'm being honest with
see,
you,
I actually think he looks closer to Jordan now. They actually look like twins.
really, that's
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to get a bit of look. I can't wait to see the actual
the episode.
episode
But
with
we got
him there.
8 more weeks.
Yes.
I had to do my math on that because I had planned it out with the show, how many episodes I'm watching to get caught up before March 14th. So we're coming. It's getting there.
So, in saying that, Joe, you have watched the latest 3 episodes of Superman and Lois.
Yes. Before we get into that
Haywire,
though,
Haywire, The Best of Smallville, and Broken Trust.
all in the game ask if it's 13 episodes like Stargirl and not 15. Do you know how many episodes
I'm
this
looking
season
it up
is?
right
All right,
now.
cool. I'll start talking about the episodes then. Um my take on these next 3 episodes, these 4, 5, and 6, everybody is still well, hold on. Now I got a question.
Mhm.
Season 1,
Yeah.
Jonathan and Jordan are 14. Like they just started high school, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Clark and Lois are terrible parents.
Okay, why?
They let their 14-year-old get drunk, and then instead of like punishing him, oh, I was a rebellious teen too. I understand where you go to. Mother dude, no. You're a terrible parent. I know I understand that these guys look like they're 18, but that's just the actors. But no, like you are a terrible parent letting your 14-year-old get drunk. And then on the last episode, episode 6, they're in Metropolis. The other seniors, I guess, come into the hotel room and it's like, hey, we're gonna go down to the liquor store. Somebody can get some beer. Okay. Like, you just what?
There's some
Anyway,
questionable parenting things there.
lots.
All in the game, unfortunately, it's 15 episodes. I know that's not what you're wanting to hear,
The
but
15 isn't terrible.
it's not. It can be a lot worse. It can be 23. So,
Mhm. Or
uh,
4. But
yeah,
no,
there's some questionable parenting a lot. You're going to get into some more questionable parenting along the way, Joe.
I understand what they're trying to do. I get what they're trying to do. But like, no, no. We were talking about it before. Like, I know, and I know this because of things I've seen. We've talked about it. That Captain Luther, I'm using air quotes, the Captain Luther right now, the stranger, uh, becomes John Henry Irons. Um, it was interesting to see that on his Earth, he was married to Lois. That was fun to see.
Hmm.
So like him being obsessed with her right now is makes more sense. But I also like the fact that Captain Luther, air quotes, wasn't like just a one and done thing, one and done villain. Like he's and he's not even a villain. Like he's trying to prevent something that he thinks is coming
Hmm.
because it happened on his Earth. Obviously, that's not going to play out that way. Um, seeing Jordan use getting his powers come up like when the episode ended with him. Episode 6 ended with him. His powers are like haywire. I know that was the title
Yeah,
of
that was the
episode
title of the episode. Yeah.
4, but no, episode 6, like his superhero is coming in. His heat vision is going haywire because he's getting emotional, and Clark has to fly him to the fortress like right away. So
Yes.
I'm interested. I'm liking what I'm watching. Um, yeah,
Yeah, we got to remember too, like a CW. So that's what makes me impressed with some of the shots we've seen. Some of the
yes. Oh, there was literally a scene here. One thing I liked in episode 6 because I just literally watched it before we came on. Tag, who has gotten these flash powers. He's
yeah.
able to run really fast. Um, he's running away from Superman. Superman's giving chase, and he crosses a railroad track
Mhm.
with a train coming. And instead of like what Flash would do and just like speed over it, he upends the tracks themselves. And I'm like, that is awesome. And that scene when Superman grabs the train, heats the rails enough to flatten out and then put the train back down. That was awesome.
Yes, that was
Really
pretty
good
cool.
job.
I can even remember that. Like, that was one of the better quality shots.
Yeah. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm a little upset with myself for not watching it when it aired originally, but at the same time, I'm kind of happy because there were so many breaks during season
Oh,
two
Joe. Oh,
that
Joe. Oh, you didn't need to go through season 2 where it was
yeah,
like
I'm
4
I'm
weeks
really
on,
happy I
2
didn't have
weeks
to.
off, 4 weeks on, 1 week off, 4 weeks on. So yeah, that was a frustrating thing, but I'm really glad that you're enjoying
I'm enjoying it so far.
this show so far. I'm really
So far,
interested to see how it tracks for you until we get to season 3.
yeah.
So that's exciting. Before we finish off the news, we'll take our final ad break of the evening. Listeners, we're an ad support network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe. Unfortunate news for us. Titans is not coming back when we hoped it would. The director for season 5, some episodes of season 5, Nicholas Copus, shared an update on Instagram, and he said part 2, I believe, will air on HBO Max in April. I am sworn to secrecy on season 5. Enough said.
God, that's just I don't like that we have to wait 3 freaking months.
Does not do the show any favors the
No,
same way I thought it
I'm gonna
happened
forget what
to
happened in those first 6 episodes
Young Justice. You're gonna have a
and not
very
rewatching it.
long, you have to have a very long, previously on X-Men, at the start of this.
But at the same time, though, like we had Titans and then we had Doom Patrol, and we still don't know when Doom Patrol is coming out. So it's very likely similar situation. Titans will air in April. We won't get Doom Patrol until May, and I don't like that either.
Yeah, that's not that. I hope the two run concurrently because there is talks of crossover. So maybe
It
an
should.
episode from both of them is used to do it. That would be amazing. So fingers crossed on that cohesion, Joe. I'm not holding out hope for that.
No, I'm not holding my breath.
That's incredibly frustrating to take this long of a break when you already have all the episodes filmed because they did say remember seeing like the stars saying like done filming like
Yeah,
and Adapt got on there and said like, oh my god, like this is over, like I basically said as much as that. So this was our last season or so
allegedly.
allegedly. So apparently, allegedly now. So yeah, and this means that we don't know when Doom Patrol is coming back as well, which is one I think I'm going to forget more because basically for Titans we have Brother Blood coming out of the blood, and then we'll just go on from there.
Yeah.
Like there's not much else.
Well, Doom
We
Patrol,
got
you have Cliff still has his
immortality
immortality, so it'd be them having to take that out of Cliff, I
or
guess.
protect him from losing it. I,
And
it,
who knows? They
I
got
don't know.
captured, so they're gonna lose it. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, that's unfortunately we're gonna have a while to wait before we get. I'm gonna be a dad before we get another episode of Titans. This is not something I
You make
thought.
it sound like a bad thing.
No, just it didn't think that we'd be waiting that long since the last episode of Titans I watched was December 6th, and there's 6 more episodes of the same season. I didn't
Yeah.
think we'd that much of a break. uh,
I got nothing.
the final piece of news for us tonight, Joe. Shazam 2 reveals 6 new posters for the film. Uh,
These posters look cool.
oh, it's super cool. I love how they have nicknames as well. We have Pedro Pena as the Muscle, uh, Eugene Choi as the Gamer, Freddie Freeman as it looks like it's
So, what does his say? His said
the nerd, but there's a little bit
yeah.
of
So
blurred
I
out.
wanted to talk about that because it looked like his had the champion under there as well, which the champion is, Shazam's.
And he got an evil look on his face.
I said this when the first original poster came out, and I'll say it here because now I'm on the podcast to talk about it. when the first poster came out, his face looked like it had a shadow on it.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned in the group in the GUA chat, well, hell, maybe Eclipso could show up. Like
Ooh.
Eclipso taking over Freddie Freeman out of like jealousy because he's not the leader. He's not. He has all this knowledge, but like I could definitely see Shazam like not or Billy not using it or not utilizing it, and he can get jealous of it. And
Oh yeah, well he
I
can be
could
like,
see
I've done this before. I know what I'm doing, and
correct.
I'm not listening to you.
They could be having a spat. I could definitely see like Eclipso taking advantage of that. That's it's in the weeds, I know, but like it's just something I thought of and it's been stuck in my head for a while.
Joe, he does look pretty evil there, and it would
But
I
his
could
is
see that
also
track.
his is the only one where there was something underneath it. Like
That is
there
true
is
too.
like the nerd got plastered over something else, which I think was the champion. So
Yeah, because we have Darla Dudley as the speed. Mary Broomfield is one that I thought might be like they might try and turn her bad, but no,
well,
she's the brains as well.
Mary Marvel has turned bad in the comics, which
Yeah,
what has happened a few different times. Heck, we saw it in Young Justice as well. So that has precedent.
and I think you're
Turning
right,
Freddy
Joe,
though,
because the final one is Billy Batson, the champion, and his
it
champion.
matches up.
Oh my god, the the nerves plastered over. I think you're.
So I I don't know because
I know, I do
in
know.
this article
I think you're
it
right.
says just like in the original film, Freddie Freeman is expected to continue playing a significant and possibly precarious question mark role in the DC sequel. So like I, I don't know. We'll see.
We're yeah, I can see
I'm
that.
making my prediction now. Something's gonna happen.
I I think you're right. Don't say something's gonna happen. You were basically saying he's gonna turn evil, and I think you're
I
hundred
think he
percent right
might
about
might have some play with it.
it. Ooh, this is a good question. Alan the Game asked, "Will both its critic score and box office be better than the first film?" Let me look
I
up.
hope. I
I think the box office is pretty much a given, where it's not sandwiched between those two films of Endgame and Captain Marvel.
yeah, fair, yes. But this has some hype to it. Like I am excited to see this movie. I know a few. I mean I know it's not going to be building the DCU, but like this has some hype behind it. So I'm hoping that it will beat both. But I don't know what are the scores. You know? Well,
71 for Metacritic,
okay.
which is not bad. I'll check Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. Well, as much as we don't
Uh,
like Rotten Tomatoes,
it got 90% on the tomato meter and 82% on the audience score.
S Bubs chimes in. It's going against a ton of huge movies in March, so I think it'll be around the same or maybe lower. Yeah, we actually just
It's at the
got
tail end
shared.
of that. It's at the tail end of March, though. It's like the
Ooh, it's
third
middle.
weekend, of March.
Yeah, but you have it was shared in our chat what is happening in
D&D is in the final weekend, and I
oh
think
yeah.
Shazam could possibly do better than that anyway.
Hey, give D&D a chance.
I just talk about the general audience here.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Not
First
all
one had
those.
really good scores out in the game. Yep, that is correct. I think you might be onto something here, Joe, and it could be a pretty good twist. And maybe it's the Daughters of Atlas that turn Freddy against the group.
It's highly possible. Yeah, here is it was shared in our chat. Beginning of the season or beginning of the week or month, Creed 3, uh second week Scream 6, then Shazam, 65 movie is same week, John Wick 4. Like John Wick's gonna tear it apart. I'm
But
sorry.
yeah, it's not, yeah, you are right about that. That's the
And
following
then
week.
that's the following week, and then D&D is the last week. So
Yeah,
it's 5 weeks in March. Yeah, it's Shazam will have a good first weekend, but that second weekend, John Wick is just gonna destroy it. I'm sorry.
I don't know if the demographic to watch Shazam is going to be exactly the same as John Wick because John Wick's
No,
rated R. So we gotta,
no, correct. You are
yeah.
right. Like this would definitely be better for like the family aspect, but John Wick's gonna take that weekend. Like you
Oh
can't
yeah, no,
you,
no,
you you can't
you're
argue
not
that.
getting any arguments with John
Yeah,
for me with John Wick not being #1 that weekend.
like I'm gonna go see it that weekend.
I'm just thinking it still could get a good piece of the pie for
Gotcha.
that weekend. Like I don't think it's going to be like John Wick and everything else absolute dog crap. I think this would be respectable, like 15,
Oh
even
yeah, yeah.
20
Like
million. Yeah,
it'll be great that first week, and it'll drop that second week. I hope it doesn't do like the 60-70% drop, but that's been the normal for post pandemic. Um, but I will it get the same number? I don't know. It may get lower. I could definitely see it being lower because of what's after it, what's coming
and
after it.
also what's going on with DCEU as a whole right now.
Correct, and that's gonna be a big thing. Why should the general audience? Well, really, why should the fans go see this movie if it's not continuing on with the universe?
That's true because we know that we know it and we could go see it just for some cool things. But I
Correct.
also think that why would any fans of the DCU that like what was happening, why would they go see it? Like they might be frustrated with what the decisions are. So I'm not sure how that's going to affect the film. It's going to be interesting to see.
Well, I mean,
Uh,
we'll keep an eye on it, but it could actually hurt it. I think.
I think you're right about that, Joe. And
And
I
that's the
also
thing.
think
This is the one that's going to set how Flash and Aquaman will be. Like I still think Blue Beetle is going to be in its own little bubble, but Shazam is a sequel. Flash is a continuation of the universe, and Aquaman's a sequel. This one will set how those movies will will be received in the future.
agree with you on that 100%. And it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. Just
Yeah.
for, I hope they don't lose much money. They can't handle losing too
God,
much
man.
money. WDD may fold. Uh,
Oof.
okay, Joe. We have one final thing to talk about. It's back by popular demand. Smallville retro recaps. Talkville is back as well. Uh, before we get into that one final thing, all in the game says, have a feeling Blue Beetle will be the best reviewed DC movie of this year.
Agreed.
Possibly, I think Flash may do that as well, depending because
Yeah.
that is a they're pretty confident on that one, so it'll be interesting. But we have, like I said,
Thanks, S Bubs.
the Black Adam of 2023.
I don't think it's gonna be that.
It didn't cost nearly as much as that to film. That's a
True.
certain. Like it's definitely lower on the totem pole. But Smallville retro recaps are back, Joe. Talkville's back as well, so we're continuing on with them. They had a great discussion this week. Well, minus one thing that I want to get into in a little bit. We're talking about season 2, episode 1, the season premiere, Vortex. So, Joe, what do you think about this?
I remember this episode. I don't
This show?
remember all of it. But I remember this episode because like I watched this all the time. Um and Tom brings it up in Talkville, and then Michael like shoots it down real quick. But I thought that they may have actually recorded this almost immediately after the season finale of season 1 because everybody looked the same. And I know that's props
Yeah,
to
like prop
uh
department,
makeup
makeup,
makeup
hair,
department.
makeup, all
Yeah.
that.
Because I know like episode 2, it everything changes. Like
Yep.
they all look a little older. Um, but Michael Rosenbaum was just like, no, no, no. I remember having to worry if they were gonna get my bloody eye like the same and all this stuff. So I guess they
Got it. Got
actually
to
did it right. But
good
no, like
justice in
I
that.
enjoyed this episode was a great episode. I really liked it. Um, yeah, I was able because normally I watch them at work on my phone. This one I was able to actually watch at home on my TV. I'm like, holy crap, that actually looks really good.
Yeah,
I
like
should watch it on my TV more often.
I really enjoyed this episode as well, Joe. It like good, really good season premiere. That Jonathan Kent was a standout in this episode. Uh, Going to the lengths to protect Clark and just even talking man to man to that slimy reporter guy. I'm forgetting
Yeah,
his name.
Nixon.
Nixon, uh, Roger Nixon,
Yep.
and seeing him like when he goes to grab the pipe and Roger Nixon be like, "Oh no, no, don't kill me! No, no, I won't say anything," and him just lifting up, being like, "Yeah, like I'm
Like I'm
never
not
gonna do
going to.
that.
I'm
I'm
not
not
an
you."
asshole. Yeah.
And it was good to see that. I one thing frustrating that I want to talk about with the Talkville, Tom. Honestly, man, like honestly, you couldn't inquire, send somebody a text message before you came on, like, not knowing people would love to know how that trailer flipped over? You couldn't, like, do a little bit of like, it sounds like you watched
Hold
the
on now,
episode
sir.
20 minutes before it started.
I don't do any research when I pop on here.
Yeah, we're not Talkville asking people to buy
We're not
T-shirts and
actors.
join our Patreon
Yeah,
and
fair.
like,
We have to try to get people joined.
and well, we didn't say at the first one of our Smallville retro recaps, and, hopefully you get a little bit of behind the scenes, like, of, like, how
Correct.
things happen. That's exactly at a time when, like, made. So that was the one thing, like, I'm being a little, like, silly here. Obviously, I've listened to the full, Talkville, podcast, but it just made me question it. I'm like, why wouldn't you just reach out? Like, I'm sure you can get
But yeah,
props
but who could you
department
talk
or
to? Like, I mean,
TV
maybe
gotta
yeah,
know. You gotta.
it's been 20 years. Like, you can't.
Half of them still worked on Arrow. They even mentioned it. I'm sure you could
Yeah,
talk to
but
somebody that
but
was in the
and I'm
stunt
sure maybe
department.
somebody does remember it because people have good memories. But like, who are you gonna like? I don't know. Like, it's been so long. What we got here?
It just
Like,
is a good
only
like we mentioned, All the Games is like Shazam,
okay.
not 800 million, well, it only went up slightly.
Yeah,
The thanks for numbers on the game is 125 million
you're
for
doing
Shazam.
the work I don't want to do. Thanks
I
all.
think Black Adam was like
It was up
I
there,
wanna say 290, but I could be
but it
wrong.
also had like a 15-year like run up. So
Yeah. Yeah, so that was frustrating to hear to not know how that because that was a really cool effect, how he flipped it, like, it was really easy. I like how Michael tried to come in and say, like,
it was
probably
probably
with,
a
like,
crane.
racks and cranes and
Yeah, which
ropes and
probably
the boat had a
was.
full he's a director as well, so it would make
He
sense that
would know. Yeah, he
he
know
would know that kind of
some
stuff.
stuff about that.
Yeah.
It was fun to see Clark gaslighting Lana some more. You know,
Yeah.
like, like normal,
Yeah, it's
knowing
really
full
good.
well that in the future she will find out. Like,
Yeah.
dude, just. But I'm also seeing the same things over on Superman and Lois. Like Jordan was gaslighting Sarah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Oh, he gets
Oh,
you'll
I
be
know
begging.
he. Oh,
You'll
I
be
know. Eventually,
he
he.
fucks up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I know it's coming. But
Yeah, it is wild to come, but, I gotta say there was a lot that enjoyed me this. I really did like the Lex and Lionel stuff as well. Lionel going blind and
which I'm happy because I forgot that he had some damage when everything popped off to his optic nerve that was starting to get worse and worse. So they had to do an operation to get it better,
they
which
didn't have
eventually,
to. They didn't have
well,
to.
yeah, well, they
One doctor wanted to wait, one doctor,
the
the
one from
specialist,
Metropolis.
Metropolis wanted to operate now. Lionel says to Lex that he would have did the same thing, and they were both wrong.
Yep,
And then Lex bails out of the
yeah, because now he's blind. But
hospital room.
I remembered him being blind.
Yeah,
I remembered him being in a wheelchair for a while, but I never remembered like how he got blind.
yeah.
Like it never made sense to me because I also know in the future he becomes not blind anymore. So
I think he was blind, and then like
I think
he,
by the end of the season
I
it come
think
back, but he
I
like
think what
tried again.
happens is he trades bodies with Clark, and when he comes back into his body, he's healed, but he doesn't tell anybody that he isn't blind for a while. Like
Is
he
that this
keeps
season
up
or
the
that next season?
facade. I think next season that happens. I think he is
Okay.
blind for a while. I think that happens, and he becomes like not blind anymore. When he goes back into his own body, he's healed. Could be wrong by that. They
Well,
might be wrong by
we're
that.
bound to find out.
We will find out eventually. So yeah, this was an enjoyable episode, and at the end, Nixon's ready to kill
Jonathan.
Jonathan, and Lex straight up shoots him straight through the chest. That was
Yeah.
pretty cool scene. I enjoyed that death. And one frustrating thing was the Chloe Clark stuff, where she basically said, "Let's be friends," and then went over crying about it and
Yeah,
deleting
like
pictures. Did not deleting pictures. That's way
yeah,
too much.
yeah, her deleting pictures because
And
oh
then
no,
canceling
we're
them.
just friends. Like you're being dramatic. Calm
Yeah,
down. Well, you don't tell women.
that like that's gonna something like that's gonna get you branded. Branded a irrational person.
Uh, yep.
See what I did there?
Yes, saw it. Uh, but no, like she definitely like went too far on that, and
Yeah.
she did this to herself. Like she hurt herself, and yeah, I think she probably wanted him to maybe push back on that because they were having a good time, but there's going to be that looming wall of Lana in the way that will never ever go away. So
knows just well get away now, and we know that
exactly. So
it takes a little bit
she
longer, but
understands that.
she does get that lesson learned eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, it was a really enjoyable episode. I'm excited to see the second one next week, and hear to talk Phil about it. I don't know what guests they might bring on. It's a really enjoyable podcast, and it got me to revisit Smallville, which is always a great thing.
Yeah. Always.
Okay, Joe, that wraps up our podcast for tonight. Chapter 154. Hopefully, chapter 155 is about DC, some of the new movies in the DCU. If not, probably be 156.
Yeah.
So,
I said,
uh,
don't hope on it just yet.
we were excited to talk about it. Thank you for sticking with us on the game. Yes, Bubs in the chat. Shout out. We'll be back next week, everyone. Later.
Bye, y'all.